Hello everyone, I've got another target airgun for you today, and thanks for joining me with another replica airguns video. My name's Michael K, and we're looking at the Xisico XSP180, and this is the .22 caliber version, so it's available in .177 and .22 caliber. This is a spring piston brake barrel designed air pistol, and it can be used for target, and I'd even say it can be used for small pests, especially in the .22 caliber version. Now, it's not really a replica of any gun in particular. It is designed a little bit like the Diana MP5 Magnum, which is another really nice spring piston target pistol. Now, the Xisico XSP180 is distributed out of Houston, Texas, so in the USA, but it's actually made in China. Now, this company has a joint venture with a Chinese manufacturer, and that's where they bring in all their air guns. Now, it does come in this cardboard box here. Not too fancy. Inside is foam, and the gun just sits inside the foam. Of course, you also get this manual, and it's fairly well designed. Not too much writing, some pictures, illustrations. Shows you the basics on how to just use this gun, specifications and things like that. Now, quickly going over some more of the specifications. Again, it's a spring piston brake barrel design. It shoots between 400 and 500 feet per second. So the .22 caliber is supposed to shoot in the neighborhood of 400, and the .177 caliber is supposed to shoot in the neighborhood of 500 feet per second. Now, it's a single shot design. Each time you want to shoot, you have to break the barrel and cock the spring inside. It has a rifled barrel. It also has adjustable fiber optic sights and an adjustable trigger. And by the way, the trigger is very nice and light. Now, under the barrel is a tactical rail for lights and lasers. Okay, we're going to quickly look around this gun a little bit. Now, there's not too much going on. I'm not going to have to show you too much with this pistol. You have your serial number, you have the model number, caliber listed right here. Now, by the way, this is the safety. I'll get a little bit more into that in a bit. You have some nice grips here, and they're very nicely molded. They actually fit very well. Well, at least for right-handed shooters. If you're a left-handed shooter, you're going to have difficulty with these grips. I'm not sure if left-handed grips are available. The gun is primarily made out of like a composite plastic. It seems very durable, and the fit and finish is good overall. On the right side, as you can see, there's not really too much different. No controls really on the left or right side. Now on the top, of course, we have our sights. You have fiber optic in the front. It has the orange fiber optic here. You have the green fiber optic on the rear sight. And this sight is adjustable for windage and elevation. So you can adjust the height and the elevation here. Now, going over the bottom, you have your tactical rail here. You can put lasers. You can put tactical lights on here. I don't know of any way to mount a top scope unless you were able to mount it from the bottom and up and over, which may be possible depending on if you can find a mount that would do that. Now, to adjust the trigger, you would put a screwdriver through this hole right here and adjust this screw right here, and that one would adjust it. Now, getting back to the safety a little bit, when you cock the gun, the safety, and this by the way is how you cock it. I'm not going to do it because with a spring piston gun, once you cock it, you have to shoot it. It's not good to leave it cocked, and it's also not good to shoot it dry. So I'm not going to cock it right now for you. But when you cock the gun, then this would pop down in this position. Now, I haven't cocked it fully, so I can't release it, but then you'd push down here, or you'd push it up into the receiver, and that releases the safety. And then of course you can then fire the trigger. Alright, so that's pretty much what I wanted to show you on the outside of the gun and basic controls, how it looks, just a basic walk around of the gun. Now I'd like to take you outside and go through the shooting portion of this test. So we're going to head outside. We're going to shoot the Xisico XSP180 through a chronograph, and we're also going to shoot it at a target from 30 feet out to see how well it shoots. And we're going to actually shoot a 5-shot group this time. Alright, so let's head outside. Alright, I'm here with my Xisico XSP180, and this is the .22 caliber version. Now, this gun does come in a .177 caliber version, but we're using the .22 caliber today, and this gun has a claimed feet per second of up to 400 FPS. The .177 is claimed at around 500 because it's a lighter grain pellet. Today I'm using RWS hobby pellets. They weigh in at 11.9 grain, and I'm going to shoot 3 rounds through the chronograph because we're not using CO2. So we won't see a variation in drop off as the CO2 cools the gun down. So this is a spring piston brake barrel design. Alright, so shot number 1. Have to be very careful with this gun. It has a very light trigger. Shot number 1. 474. Very good. Shot number 2. 467. Well above 400 at this point. Not bad at all for a heavy 22 caliber pellet. And shot number 3. 467. So up well above 460 feet per second, and even verging into 470 feet per second with a 22 caliber 11.9 grain pellet. Not bad at all. Alright, so let's move on to the accuracy portion of this test. Okay, I have my Xisico XSP180 here in 22 caliber. We're going to take 5 shots on this target from 30 feet out in a rested position. So I'm standing, but the gun will be on a bag, a sandbag, in a rested position. Just using open sights. I'm not great at shooting these spring piston designed guns. It takes a little bit of practice to get them just right because they do have a lot of resonance in them. And so I'll do my best here to get a tight group for you, but don't expect perfection. Alright, so let's head back and take 5 shots. Shot 1. Shot 2. Shot 3. Shot 4 here. I had to adjust my camera a little bit. It's creeping up on me. Last one. I seem to be missing a pellet. There we go. Alright, let's see how we did. Well, that's not a bad grouping. With open sights, it's about maybe around 1 inch, maybe just a hair over. Now again, I'm not the greatest with these spring piston brake barrel designed pistols or rifles, but I think that's pretty decent. Combine that with a nice high feet per second velocity, not a bad shooter at all. Alright, so let's head inside and finish this review. Alright, so the Xisico XSP180 did really well in the shooting portion of the test. It got excellent chronograph feet per second readings, well above the 400 claimed feet per second for this 22 caliber version. We were up into the 460 to 470 range, which is really, really good, using the 11 or pretty close to a 12 grain pellet. So in my books, this gun would make a nice little pest control gun, for sure, especially in 22 caliber. Now I haven't tested the .177 caliber, but I imagine it's going to shoot right up to the 500 feet per second range. Now as far as my grouping from 30 feet away, I don't claim to be the best target shooter in the world, especially when using spring piston designs, because they do recoil quite a bit different than a CO2 gun does. And I was also just using open sights, so even though it was rested on a sandbag, I was standing. So there was some movement going on while I was trying to shoot this gun. And that combined with open sights, there is going to be a little bit of variation. So getting the grouping that I did, and I'll just show you, it's about a 1 inch group, maybe just a hair over. Not bad at all, really, using open sights from a semi-rested position. Alright, I quickly wanted to mention that I didn't really sight this gun in at all. I just pretty much shot it, and that's why I was shooting a little bit low. Most of the time I don't sight my guns in, I just shoot them as is. It's just to get an idea of what kind of grouping they can get. Alright, so let's go over some of the pros. Now the XSP180 is really quite an inexpensive gun for the kind of features and quality and performance that you get out of it. So I'd have to say when comparing it to other target pistols, it's going to come in at the low end of the price range, which may get a few more people into a gun like this. Now as I said, it has reasonable quality for the money. Even though it has a lot of composite plastic in it, It does feel very durable. Now what I like is this is one pump, one shot. Unlike other multi-pump guns where you have to pump them up 3-4 times or even more to get one shot, you basically just give this barrel a crank and you're ready to go. I like that it also comes in .177 caliber and .22 caliber. What's nice about this is if you plan on using it for pest control, then the .22 caliber may be the one that you would pick. And if you want to use it more for target practice, you can use the cheaper .177 caliber pellets, which also have a bit of a flatter trajectory, meaning you'll get a little bit more accurate shooting out of it. Now, as we saw in the chronograph test, the Xisico XSP180 did really well, getting right up into the high 400 feet per second in .22 caliber. The XSP180 also performed very well for me in my target portion of the test, and I actually kind of surprised myself and got a 1-inch group out of this spring piston air pistol. I also like the modern looking design. I like the fact that it has an adjustable trigger. Even though mine was set just the way I like it, on a target gun like this, a nice light trigger is always going to help you get better results. I also liked the adjustable fiber optic sights. They're very easy to see in all kinds of different lighting situations. It's a nice touch that Xisico added the rail underneath the barrel, allowing you to potentially add a laser or a tactical light if you plan on doing some nighttime pest control. And lastly, I didn't really talk too much about it, but the grips on the Xisico XSP180 are really quite nice. They're very comfortable and very ergonomic. And as always, I have to follow up with some cons. No gun is perfect. Now with the XSP180, it does have a lot of plastic, and some people are a little turned off by that, but as I said, it does seem quite durable. Now the ergonomic grips will work really well for a right-handed shooter, but if you're a left-handed shooter, you're going to have some trouble shooting with this gun, and at this time I do not have left-hand grips available for this gun. Another shortcoming would be there's no way to mount a top mount scope, and that would have been nice. I think a red dot on this pistol would have been a nice touch because it is quite a good shooter. I also found that the safety was a little bit rough and it's quite heavy to disengage. Maybe having a heavy safety is a good idea for safety reasons. Now it did work well, it just took a little bit of getting used to for me. Alright, so that wraps up this review of the Xisico XSP180 in .22 caliber. Don't forget we do sell it in .177 caliber too. Now this gun is currently selling in the Replica Airgun store for about $149. I think it's great value. It shoots well, it has a nice high feet per second, you have your choice of caliber, it has fiber optic adjustable sights, and a rail underneath for accessories. You really can't go too wrong with this airgun. I know a lot of people are looking for a nice, well-performing airgun, and I think the Xisico XSP180 hits the mark in just about every category. Alright, so thanks again for watching another Replica Airguns video. Don't forget to check out the Replica Airguns website and web store, where we have all sorts of products there for you, air guns, blank guns, accessories. We have articles and reviews, and a whole lot of information there for you to check out. So come on down. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And if you're on Twitter or Facebook, check out my Twitter and Facebook pages. Username is Replica Airguns. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care.